Most people will never admit this to themselves. Your kindness might not be a virtue. It might be a carefully constructed disguise. Machiavelli believed that power was not only measured by what you achieved, but by what you were willing to see about your own nature. He warned that in a world ruled by competition, the habit of appearing harmless is often nothing more than a subtle form of fear. Because behind every compulsive apology, behind every impulse to rescue or please, behind every refusal to draw a boundary, there is often something darker, not goodness, not virtue, but weakness. And the truth is, weakness dressed up as kindness doesn't protect you. It invites exploitation. It guarantees that the people around you, those who sense that you will not fight back, will use you as a means to their own ends. If you've ever felt the quiet frustration of being overlooked, if you've ever wondered why the people you help so often take more than they give, or why you feel exhausted trying to be the good person in every situation, this is not a coincidence. Today, we'll look at 8 signs that your kindness is really fear in disguise. These patterns are not obvious at first. They wear the mask of decency. They make you believe you're doing the right thing. But Machiavelli understood what most people refuse to see, that when you confuse goodness with weakness, you make yourself an easy target. As you listen to these signs, don't just think about other people. Think about yourself. Because the person most likely to betray you is the part of you that insists you must always be agreeable, always forgiving, always soft. In the end, the world does not reward the person who never says no. It does not respect the one who cannot draw a line. It does not protect those who are too afraid to assert themselves. And if you see yourself in these patterns, it might be time to stop performing kindness and start building strength. Let's begin. Sign 1. You apologize for things you didn't do wrong. On the surface, this might look like humility, a willingness to take responsibility. But Machiavelli would have seen it differently. He would have recognized it as a quiet admission of weakness. Because when you apologize reflexively, when you say sorry just to keep the peace, you send a signal to everyone around you that your boundaries can be shaped by their moods. Think about it. The person who never resists blame becomes the perfect scapegoat. In families, in workplaces, in relationships, people instinctively look for someone who will absorb the discomfort of others. And if you make a habit of stepping into that role, you will find yourself blamed for things you never did, simply because you won't challenge the story. This isn't real kindness. It's self-erasure, and it's one of the fastest ways to teach others that your feelings don't matter. Sign 2. You avoid all conflict, even when you are being undermined. Most people think conflict is a problem to be solved or an obstacle to be avoided. But Machiavelli understood that conflict is often a sign that you are protecting something valuable: your time, your respect, your resources. When you refuse to engage in any disagreement, you leave those things undefended. Ask yourself, how many times have you let someone cross a line just to keep things comfortable? How many times have you smiled and nodded while someone quietly disrespected you? This is the hidden cost of compulsive agreeableness, the belief that if you never push back, people will see you as good. But in reality, they see you as weak. The absence of conflict doesn't mean the presence of peace. It usually means you are swallowing resentment in silence, and over time, that silence becomes a cage you build around yourself. Sign 3. You help everyone except yourself. There is a seductive kind of identity in being the helper, the one everyone turns to, the one who never says no. It feels noble, almost heroic. But Machiavelli would have called this what it often is, a strategy to avoid confronting your own unmet needs. When your entire value comes from rescuing others, you become dependent on their problems to feel important. You neglect your own goals because fixing someone else's life feels safer than facing your own uncertainty. And while you're busy carrying everyone else's burdens, your own life quietly decays. This isn't compassion, it's avoidance. And the people who take from you will rarely ask whether you have anything left to give. Sign 4. You believe kindness alone will earn respect. Respect is not given because you are nice. Respect is earned because you have clear standards and the courage to uphold them. Machiavelli observed that many people confuse the appearance of virtue with the substance of strength. They believe that if they are endlessly accommodating, others will feel grateful and treat them well. But respect has little to do with how much you please others and everything to do with how much you respect yourself. The person who bends over backward to avoid discomfort, who agrees with opinions they secretly despise, who sacrifices their own needs to avoid conflict, this person becomes easy to disregard. Because if you do not value your own dignity, why should anyone else? Kindness without strength is just an invitation for others to take as much as they want. Sign 5. You let others overstep because you fear rejection. Many people would rather tolerate disrespect than risk being alone. They allow friends to mock them, partners to belittle them, colleagues to exploit them, all because the idea of setting a boundary feels more terrifying than the reality of being used. Machiavelli knew that fear of isolation is one of the most powerful levers of control. Those who cannot stand apart are doomed to be shaped by the demands of the crowd. Every time you allow someone to cross a line you never wanted crossed, you reinforce your own invisibility. You teach yourself that your feelings are negotiable, and you teach others that your loyalty can be bought cheaply, sometimes with nothing more than superficial approval. Sign 6. You confuse agreeableness with moral superiority. Some people wear their compliance like a badge of honor. They believe that because they never criticize, never disagree, never assert their own needs, they are somehow more evolved, more ethical, more enlightened. But this is often just a convenient story, a way to avoid the discomfort of confrontation while still feeling virtuous. Machiavelli would have called this a dangerous illusion, because the refusal to take a stand does not make you good, it makes you complicit. When you constantly yield to the preferences of others, you are not rising above conflict. You are simply hiding from it. And the people who benefit from your silence will be the first to remind you how nice you are, as long as you stay exactly where they want you. Sign 7. You enable toxic people to feel needed. It feels good to be indispensable, to be the person everyone comes to when their life is falling apart. But Machiavelli warned that dependency is rarely innocent. Often, people who drain you emotionally are not looking for help. They are looking for someone to absorb the consequences of their own choices. When you make yourself responsible for their crises, you validate their dysfunction. You confirm to them that there will always be someone willing to rescue them from themselves. And in doing so, you trade your energy, your time, and your peace for the fleeting feeling of significance. This is not generosity. It is an arrangement, that keeps you both weak. Sign 8. You feel resentful when your goodness isn't returned. If your kindness is unconditional, why does it hurt so much when others fail to reciprocate? Why do you feel invisible when your sacrifices go unnoticed? Machiavelli would have called this the final proof that your kindness is not what it seems. Because true compassion does not expect repayment. It does not keep score. But kindness born from fear and insecurity always comes with hidden expectations. The hope that if you are agreeable enough, selfless enough, forgiving enough, someone will finally see your worth. And when they don't, the resentment feels like betrayal. This is the trap. The cycle of performing virtue to earn validation that never comes. The more you give yourself away, the less others value what you offer. And over time, you begin to wonder whether you ever had any worth at all. But you do. Your worth is not measured by how much you tolerate. It is not proven by how much you give without boundaries. Machiavelli knew that strength and kindness are not the same. One protects you. The other exposes you. And if you recognize yourself in these signs, it is not too late to choose differently. The world will always have people who mistake your kindness for weakness. People who will test how far they can push, how much they can take, and how little they can give in return. But this is not a reason to become cold or bitter. It is a reason to become clear. Clear about who deserves your generosity. Clear about where your responsibility ends. Clear about what you will no longer tolerate. Machiavelli understood that it is better to be respected than merely liked. That the person who draws boundaries is not cruel. They are simply unwilling to betray themselves for the comfort of others. You don't have to abandon your kindness, but you do have to anchor it in strength. You have to let go of the illusion that appeasement will protect you from disappointment. Because in the end, the respect you seek from others will only appear when you begin to respect yourself. If you've seen your own habits reflected in these signs, know this: you are not alone. Almost everyone has learned to perform a version of goodness that feels safer than admitting their own fear. But awareness is the beginning of change. You can decide, starting today, to stop apologizing for existing, to stop surrendering your dignity for approval, to stop pretending that kindness without strength is anything but an open invitation for exploitation. If you found value in this video, consider subscribing for more insights inspired by Machiavelli, Nietzsche, and other thinkers who were unafraid to confront uncomfortable truths. Remember, kindness is powerful when it is chosen freely, not performed out of fear. And strength is not the absence of compassion. It is the courage to protect it. Thank you for watching. Stay sharp, stay awake, and I'll see you in the next one.